Well, praise Jesus and good morning, family. Arise and shine. I'm gonna get on here a little earlier this morning so I can get it in. Was feeling one yesterday, but had to get out the door and get busy. Had work picking up a little bit, so it's always something that'll distract us and get us away from where God's pulling us if we let it. We have to learn to slow down and be on God's time. And remember, we work and we serve. Everything we do it for the Lord. It's not about anything else. When we start doing and putting other things in front of God, that's when we start messing up. That's when we start making mistakes. We stop hearing God as well and getting the feelings as well because we're pushing past them. We're so busy doing whatever it is that we're doing. I was talking to a young man yesterday. It's like addiction and stuff. A lot of people just think it is like drinking or alcohol or drugs, but there's so many things that are addictive. The worst thing that's addictive is our phones, and that's like we all stay glued to them. Not all of us, but most of us. I can't put everybody in the same group, but or overeating, or it could be anything. It could be addicted to the TV. Anything that you do too much is just not good, and so we have to measure ourselves and keep ourselves in check, because too much of anything, like I said, is not good. But I heard the Wineskins in the morning yesterday when I was out on my walk. It just came in my spirit, and so we're in Luke 5. It says it in, I believe, Matthew and Mark as well. But Luke added something to it, and I was pondering on it yesterday. I was going to let you think about it a little bit. So I'm going to do Luke 5:35 to 38. It says, "But the days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them. Then they will fast in those days." They were talking about if you read the chapter before that, they were talking about the disciples not fasting while they were with Jesus. And Jesus said, they'll fast when I'm not here, because I'm not always going to be here. Right now, they're paying attention and learning and watching me, so they can know how to carry on without me after I'm gone. That's what same thing I just said. What the Spirit said is we got to pay attention to Jesus and be taking him in when he's giving himself to us, not getting distracted and not finding something else to do. And he was also telling them that the parable, no one tears a piece of cloth from a new garment and puts it on an old garment. Otherwise, he will both tear the new, and the piece from the new will not match the old. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine will burst the skins, and it will be spilled out, and the skins will be ruined. But the new wine must be put into fresh wineskins. And this is the part that's different from the other two books. It says, "And no one, after drinking old wine, wishes for new, for he says, the old is good enough." So I was reading up on the wineskins, and the reason that they put the new wine in the new wineskins, in the old wine, when it was in the wineskins, after it fermented for a while, it would expand. And so the wineskin would expand. And so if they put the new wine in the old wineskin that's already expanded as far as it could, because it was made out of animals, like intestines, I think is what it was made out of. But anyways, it done stretched out as far as it could stretch. And so if you put more new wine in there, it would stretch it even more where it would bust. So it's like when we're following God and we're trying to, first of all, you have to be born again. And so when you're born again, if you're carrying all of the old self, this vessel here, if you're carrying the old things that you used to carry before, and you're trying to put new spirit inside of this old broken vessel, and you're not being born again, you're not changing what you're doing, you're not changing the way that God says you have to do it, it's going to bust. You're going to bust. You're going to start out well, and then you're going to fall as soon as some adversity comes, because you're not putting all of it into you. God is not a half in, half out lukewarm. He tells us that. And so if you're struggling as a Christian or a believer, you're missing out on something that's not jiving. It's not God. And so it's just hurting you and it's hindering you. But we all have to figure out, and it's a daily battle. It's a daily walk and a daily battle. It's the faith walk. It's the walk of salvation and sanctification. Salvation comes from Jesus being saved, but sanctification becomes as we're walking with him, and that doesn't end until the day we die and we go to meet him in heaven, because we're always trying to be conformed in his image. None of us is perfect, and we all have our issues, and it just is what it is. We're in these broken flesh bodies, but that's why we have to keep our mind on the spirit and not gratify the desires of the flesh and whatever that pertains to you. But if you'll sit down and talk to God, he will reveal it to you. But another little message I had was with Saul. Saul was in his old self when he was persecuting the Christians and killing believers and everything else. And then Jesus came and touched him on Damascus Road and took his eyesight from him for, I think it was 3 days, and he was blind. And then Saul, other known as Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament, became one of the best believers that there was. But when his old was the people who were with him when he was killing the world and killing the Christians, I'm sorry. And so as soon as he changed to the light and became a follower of Jesus, then his old self was coming to try to kill him. He had to escape out of the city in a basket because they wanted him dead. They knew how strong he was, and he was changing sides and coming to the good side. They wanted him dead so he wouldn't make a difference and an impact for the kingdom of God. And so that old life, if you're trying to hold on to that old life before coming to Christ, it's trying to kill you too. Just think about it. Love you all. I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day. May the peace and the shalom of the Lord rest upon you. In Jesus' mighty name. You seek and you shall find. He ain't hiding.